Hey there, you purpose-driven go-getters, you awesome coaches, consultants, and service-based online entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Collaboration Chronicles, from coffee chat to Cashflow. This is the podcast and show where we spill the tea on collaborations and, of course, virtual events that actually grow your business. I'm Katy Suik, entrepreneur coach, event strategist, and collaboration expert, and of course, your guide to building connections that truly matter. Whether you're here to brainstorm your next virtual event, listen up about other collaborations, or you just want to simply hear from these awesome, inspiring entrepreneurs who are making waves, you are in the right place. So grab your coffee or wine, I don't judge, and let's dive in, because magic happens when we stop going it alone and we start building together. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are now on episode number 3 with the Collaboration Chronicles. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I have someone in the house that I think is extraordinary when it comes to this topic. And she just so happens to be what I call my business bestie, and bestie in all forms. I tolerate her in other areas of my life. And today we really want to dive into the whole concept of really having people in your corner, those friends or those people that really pick you up off the floor in those I give up moments. Believe me, there's a lot of those. And I'm really excited that she's here because she just comes with so much wisdom. She has her own business, and I'm going to let you, Erin, tell them about it. And her name is Erin Vogt. So just a big welcome to Erin. Thank you for being guest number 3, basically one of the very first founding members of the Collaboration Chronicles. Erin, take it away. Tell us a little bit about who are you? What is your business all about? Because that's juicy. And then we can dive into some questions around collaboration and all the good things.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the honor of being the third guest on your amazing podcast. Katy, I know this thing's going to the moon. My name's Erin Vogt, and I live in a small city in southern Alberta in Canada. It's a little bit warmer and a little bit sunnier than where Katy is in Prince George, BC. And besides being the bestie of Katy Suik, I am a mom of 2 girls who are 13 and 9, and I'm married to an amazing man. We've been married for 15 years, and I have quite the eclectic background. Currently, I run a coaching business from home, and I love every minute of coaching. I don't love every minute of trying to figure out all of the other stuff in marketing and that. So that's where Bestieville comes in, and we're going to talk to you today about that. On the side, I love to volunteer in my community. I'm a big leader in terms of community engagement and community involvement, very involved in our church and just helping with people from all walks of life. I used to be a social worker, so you can call me a bleeding heart social worker if you like. You can call me someone that never stops talking. That happened too. I used to work with seniors in my last job. I have a lot of passion around family connection engagement, but I also have a big passion for mental wellness because I think a lot of people are really focused on the idea of mental health. And so I like to disrupt that a little bit and pull the strengths back into our life rather than look at them as deficits. That's a little bit about me. I could talk your ear off about any topic because I have what's called ADHD. And instead of looking at it as a hindrance, I am one of those quirky peeps that likes to watch ridiculous reels and laugh my head off and then send them all to Katy and just make people laugh. I have a big, strong passion for anyone who's dealing with any sort of busy, beautiful brain. And it's not a disorder. It's actually a real gift if you can see it in that light and you get the right support around it.
Beautiful. And not only are you passionate about that, you've overcome your own challenges around it, because ultimately, how does one, and I say this because I am married to someone who has ADD. I have a child with it, I have a coach who has it, and I have a bestie who has it. So it is certainly not rare and very relatable for a lot of people. But you have not only dug in and figured out some solutions, and mainly in your world, it's systems and creating ways to be your own best friend and support yourself, but you've created a business out of this. So tell us a little bit about what that looks like. What is it that you help people do specifically?
Well, besides digging into the crevices of your brain and figuring out what's really limiting you in your beliefs, which I love that stuff, ninja around it because I've studied it for the last 25 years. I really want to help women understand that if they can have not just habits in place, but systems to fall back on and systems that can become repetitive behaviors so that they're not scrambling over every last little thing in their home and inside their office and running their business, they're going to have a whole heck of a lot less stress. So I run a 12-week program called the ADHD Success Sisterhood, which I developed from scratch. And it's come from years of trying to figure this stuff out for myself, which I want to help people simplify. I call it simplify the chaos because let's face it, the chaos is never going to really go away. But what if you can simplify it and come at it from a different angle? Come at it from an angle where you actually step back, look at the big picture, not be in overwhelm, but actually have solutions around what you are facing. And I'm talking everyday things like today, my plumbing issue in our house. I could have really flown off the handle about that one, guys, but I'm like, nope, gotta do a podcast with Katy. Get your crap together. Stuff with kids, parenting, the weather situation is real cold right now. There's so many things that are leadership, just daily leadership habits and patterns can support us. And I find that women in business, they are doing so much all the time that they don't give their minds and bodies a chance to rest and really grasp, what am I prioritizing right now and why? And if it is something that you need to just straight up do in your home on a Wednesday at 2:00, you can do your darn laundry, ladies. You don't have someone telling you that you can't do that. If you need to tidy up your home or get the chicken in the crock pot and that takes longer and you think you're supposed to be sitting at your desk, no, you're running your business for a reason. So you have that flexibility. And I think all too often we are thinking of maybe that employee mindset sometimes where we're like, I should be grinding with my copy and creating content and meeting with people. What if you time blocked it in that you're like, I don't get going until A, B, and C is done in my house first thing in the morning. I don't have to stress about doing dishes and having this huge pile of stuff after the kids get home from school. What if you time blocked it? And I say time blocking because I know a lot of people may even be triggered by it. I was. But do it in a way that works for you. If you're an afternoon rock star, build that ideal time. Call it tiger time. I get that from Amy Porterfield. Build that into your day so that, hey, I'm real good at appointments at that time, or I'm real good at content at that time, or I'm real good at stuff with the house at that time. If your mornings, if you're not like an early riser and your brain isn't fully functioning first thing in the morning, allow yourself to have that grace and be like, okay, I'm going to do this around the house because by then I'll get my juices flowing and I'll be able to think more clearly. It took me 3 years in business, working from home, even during COVID times, to grasp that it's okay to make my routines include cleaning up my house before I start my workday. And it's changed so much for me because I used to live with this guilt of, oh man, after school, it's rush and you're running to activities. You don't have time to do all this other stuff. Allow yourself to have those freedoms and those choices. And furthermore, I know we're going to talk about collaboration. Let your people hold you accountable.
Yes. What I really love about what you do is, regardless of what your thing is, we all have weak points or struggles in our own way. What you do is you really help them tackle those challenges so they can get away from the shame cycle. Because you've talked to me about that quite often around allowing yourself to sit in the shame. Why can't I do this? What is wrong with me? I can't for the life of me figure this out. All of those really painful points that I think we can all identify with in some way. For you then, what is it that you love? When you think about your clients and what they walk away with at the end of the day, what is it that gives you the greatest amount of joy when you see it in them?
When they catch themselves in their own negative thoughts, because I'll just tell you, even this morning as I was making toast before this interview, my client texted me and she's, can I complain? And LOL, right? And I was like, I love this because she started off saying XYZ happened, and then she went, but I'm grateful. And I notice that every time I speak with my clients, yes, we inevitably become friends, but it's almost like they catch themselves in their spiral before they go into it. That gives me the most joy because then I can see and actually witness their transformation. And as a transformation coach, I don't even know if that's a thing. I've studied transformation coaching. I don't know if I'm supposed to market myself as that, ladies. I don't get it. But either way, I look at transformation as, yes, like I used to be really a slug that was not a butterfly. I'll say it that way.
Right.
I was certainly a caterpillar, scared to speak up, scared to own much of anything. And I know that my clients that I've worked with, I have one client, we've been working together over 2.5 years weekly. And I've just seen so much of the shifts and changes in her, not just her leadership, but in the way that she perceives her environment and her habits, and she takes straight up ownership of it. Like we went through her list yesterday and I've read 7 books since the start of the new year. And her list was to read 50 books by the end of the year. Now she's a hyperachiever. I'll just say, Kim, I love you. Hyperachiever girl. But at the same time, I was like, that's intention. You would not have had that had you not done all this work in really being clear on what you want. She set up systems in her life to succeed. She set up systems in her life to fall back on and also to delegate because she's a CEO. And so I really love working with people who are able to own their mistakes. They're able to step in and see, like, I can't do this on my own. And when I say that, it's not just a coaching relationship. I'm talking you enroll your family and your friends and your besties into your vision. And Katy and I are going to prove this to you guys that we have enrolled each other in our visions before we could see it ourselves. I did a post the other day about you even launching this podcast, and I'll say, I saw it before you did. I know it was in your head, in your heart, but I saw it for you as your best friend, as someone who's seen you climb out of the mud so many times, honey, that I'm like, I know this is going to happen. It's inevitable. First of all, she's done so many of these interviews in her summits. It just makes sense, but it had to be the right timing. And I've stood by you all the way along, just like you've stood by me every step of the way. The amount of gifts and reels that we share in a day, let alone a week, is funny. But I could not do this without you. I could not handle the pressure of running my own business, starting it from scratch, getting it off the ground, not quitting, and talking myself into these wild ideas without you. And guys, it comes from like messages at 12:30 at night that just come to you in the middle of you almost sleeping, where you just can just leave your bestie a message. It comes from sending that exact weird ass perfect message that you didn't know they needed. You're so intuitively connected with these people. That's where the collaboration is gold. There's no amount of money that I could ever put on our relationship, Katy, because it is just, it's unbelievable. I've never had a connection like this with anyone. And I know you haven't either. And it's just this magical thing that we are so connected, where you know that you hold that vision high. I'm going to slip into that vision somehow because I can't let you down. Even though it's my damn business, I'm like, I can't let Katy down. So when you're thinking about your systems, ladies, if you're hearing this, or gentlemen, think about who you don't want to let down, because often we are so wrapped up in, we don't want to do this for ourselves. We want to do it for our kids. Everyone has like the why. Why'd you start your business?
Of course.
For my kids. Now, I'm going to call BS on that, just because that's not
Let's be real here.
That's not a deep enough why. That's not going to get you out of bed in the morning. You make supper for your kids so they don't starve. At this point, they can make their own darn supper. But you know what I'm saying? It's got to be deeper than that. And when you have that absolute intrinsic, visceral feeling that I'm not stopping. I'm not quitting. And you wrap yourself in those types of people. When you wrap yourself in the people like Matt, who you just had on week 1, or Norbert, like you had on week 2, if you wrap yourself in champion mindsets around that and you enroll your husband and your kids in that vision, there's nothing that can stop you. The only thing that can stop you is yourself. And that's the hardest part, is because we want to do that. So that's where you hire a coach. Get me out of my own freaking way.
We've done that once or twice. We've had to outsource a little support here. What I love about what we're saying here, what we're talking about, is I did do the lone wolfing thing for, 12 years, maybe around that. And it's amazing how quickly a person can get in their own head. And I was talking about this with Norbert last week, even how we just start to believe there's something wrong with us, and we start to believe all these stories about why we can't do it. And I will tell you, and Erin has been a witness to this on numerous occasions, there's been like bawling my eyes out moments. In fact, just last week, I was having a day and I was so upset about something, and I was supposed to jump on a call and support my clients in 5 minutes. But I was such a wreck. I had no capacity whatsoever. And so Erin just said, I got it. And she slipped in. She supported my people. And it was just this beautiful moment of realizing when we choose, and this is the important part, you really have to choose to open your heart, open your life, and really attract the people that align with you, number one. Because let's be real, if you are bringing people in your life that are not aligned with your values, that are not aligned with your vision, I've done that too. I've done the things, apparently, the wrong way. But for me, I know that when things get really hard, and they do, that's entrepreneurship 101 for all of us. I know I have a bestie to turn to at any given time. I have 2 amazing, and yes, as Erin said, Matt and Norbert have changed my life. And Erin is that's really amazing place to land. In fact, for Christmas, you gave me a blanket. And because we're physically apart, we live a province apart. I'm in British Columbia, Canada. If I'm feeling like I just need some Erin love and it's the middle of the night, I literally wrap that blanket around me, and I can feel the comfort of knowing that she's got my back. And I do the same for her. So who is your person? And if it's not just, I'm 46 years old. I've had best friends in the past, and this isn't a conversation about go find your bestie as much as it is about find your person or people that will stand behind you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find a lot of the wrong besties first. And I think that's the beauty of life, is you really start to realize that's not something I want, or I'm going to stop pretending to be someone I'm not in order to keep that person in my life. And I get to be who I really am and bring in people who really do align with who I am and who I get to be.
Yes.
So one things that really jumped out at me, and I haven't shared this with Erin, lately, but back in the day, we met very briefly in person when she was living in the same city, but she moved very quickly thereafter. I don't know what I said or did, but she
Katy
got the hell out of town. We hadn't had the time to develop a friendship, but we did stay in touch through Facebook. And I remember thinking to myself, this girl is she's an extrovert. She's like the network pro of all people. And I remember thinking that through the years, even before our friendship really grew into what it is now. And thinking to myself, I'm an introvert. To be fair, I know what I need to do for my business, and I enjoy connecting with people, and I love collaboration. And it does take a little bit more effort for me. And I'm sure there are many of you out there that are also introverted, and you're thinking the last thing I want to do is talk to people. But there's a big difference between talking to people just to talk to people and talking to people because you're building something bigger than you and you're aligned with them in that excitement.
Yeah.
So Erin, I want to bring it back over to you and ask you, you've been very passionate about networking, and recently you've shared even with me that you're starting to see this pay off in big ways. So talk a little bit about your philosophy behind this and why it's been so supportive to your business.
I love this question because I was reflecting on it myself, looking at actually dropping a marketing company that I had doing some blogs for me in my website. And there's this misnomer that if you don't have a website, there's something wrong with you. Now, I have had multiple websites, people. I have played the game and done the thing. But guess how much business has come my way from my darn website? None. Guess how many leads entered my funnel last year because of this company that I hired. And guess who they were?
3.
You know what the 3 were? The people who were testing the darn funnel.
That sounds...
Okay, so let me paint a picture for you. There are people everywhere online that are DMing you cold, sleazy crap. I'm just gonna talk straight. It's okay to block them. It's okay to get frustrated. And sometimes I'll send Katy a message of, guess what I did? I let them have it. Fine. But here's the thing. Keep your energy high. Keep your blockades up with knowing what you want and have that tunnel vision. And I'm not a law of attraction person. I got the Holy Spirit going on. I love Jesus. I'm not afraid to say it. And what I've noticed is every time I put out an element of genuine kindness, which doesn't take effort, authenticity is the only way to connect. When I get in a room and I have the chance to facilitate a group of people that don't know what's going on, and it's a random Zoom room, if I have the chance to send a text message or a voice message to someone who just says, hey, great to connect, and they're on the other side of the world, I take that opportunity to push the voice note button and leave them a message. But first, I check out their profile to see if they're appointment setters or marketers that are going to scale my business to 7 figures. Just saying.
Overnight.
If they are fellow coaches, if they have kids, if I see and just feel something from it, I leave them a voice message. And what happens from that is they're like, oh, wow, this person's human. I don't want to mess around and dork around with small talk that goes nowhere. I don't care to talk about the weather. I'm a social worker. I get to the source of what the heck is going on. And so when I know that someone is struggling with something, especially in a Facebook group, when I go in and I just serve, I'm going to send them a Loom video on what the heck they're struggling with. Because guaranteed I've dealt with it or I have a solution because I'm going through it myself. When you collaborate with people, you aren't attached to the outcome. Now, it doesn't mean you don't track it, Katy. I'm teaching her how to track her connections. But what you do is you become unattached. I don't go there to get anything from it. I'm legit just saying, you know what? I struggled with this, or my client and I were just chatting about this week. Do you mind if I send you a note on how we fix that or how that can be simplified? And I just leave messages. I can tell that you're struggling. Or even there's times like during lockdowns, during the fires in California, during the hurricanes, I just simply can tell that people are struggling. And instead of putting a little heart and praying for you, I take it a step further, Katy, and I go into their DMs because guess what? We're Facebook friends. And I just say, I am truly thinking about you and your family right now. I know this. I can't imagine what you're going through. And if you ever just need a place to vent, just DM me. And I may have known that person 5 years ago. But if I was to receive that message, I always think about that. If I was to receive that message, it helps us feel seen. And I think that's missing. We're all looking for likes, comments, blah, blah, blah. DM strategy does not have to be difficult. It's just being a darn human with no place to get. And Katy and I went through a coaching program that this was reinforced. I'm just going to say it. Tara Oldridge, thank you. No place to get. I love how she said that because I'm not in a place to get anything from having a conversation with someone just because you're a mom and say you're struggling and you're talking about your daughter who is having sensory issues or there is potential ADHD and you don't know how to deal with that. And people are so open in conversations on comments online. It's not hard to reach out to someone and just simply say, I see you. Man, your comment really hit me. There's no script on that. So if we can take away that feeling of, I gotta script this, I gotta copy and paste this, go walk away and come back and just realize that these people are human. And every time I receive a human connection call, that leads to us talking in the DMs. And every single one of my clients has come from a referral or a DM. I have not recruited any other clients or people have not hired me without the DMs or a referral. Case closed. And I've been running a business for 5 years.
It's so powerful because really, if we, all of us entrepreneurs, that includes all of you watching this, if we all just made the effort to put humanity back into business, to really focus on that connection and that service and that I genuinely care about you, even if I don't know you, I want you to be successful. And so what you're saying is your efforts are just, you're taking that to the next level. And people are not used to that anymore. People have become, and myself included, you get skeptical. You're like, oh, great, this person messaged me. What do they want? What if we could change the narrative around that and become these amazing connectors? And that's the other part, is that if somebody does become your client, it's because they are so grateful for who you are, not because you pitch them the fact that you're going to make them millions overnight. It's because you cared enough. I would invite all of you that are listening, watching this video, share in your comments, what are some really great tips, tricks, things that you've done in your business that are different, that have set you apart, that have made people realize that you're actually a pretty cool human. And it's not about us at the end of the day. Let's be real. It's about meeting people where they're at.
Yep.
And caring enough about them. Because what I think one of the things that we can fall into, and feel free to add to this, Erin, is we as business owners, I know I was in this trap for a long time. When we're coming from desperation and scarcity energy,
Yep.
we're constantly hoping that next call, that next connection becomes a client so that we have money in the bank. If that's how we're operating, of course we need to make money. Of course we've got bills to pay. Absolutely. But if we could just focus on being of service, the money will come by default. Because it's not always necessarily that you become the coach for that person you interact with.
Absolutely.
It's like you said, Erin. They send people to you because they're like, I just had the best conversation with this Erin chick. She's a little weird, but she's amazing. I'm kidding.
I love
Yeah,
weird.
so I feel like share in the comments if you have thoughts around that. But is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Take note of who they are and how can you overserve them in a way that it's not about them giving that back to you in some way. It's just simply showing up authentically and being genuinely interested in what they are about. And I know it can get a little overwhelming because of the amount of, nope, Matt Travis is going to hear this. I did not say that. It can get a little bit challenging because sometimes the number and quantity of conversations you're having at any given time can be a little much. So you have to track it. And I have a system that helps you track that. And so if anyone's interested in that, I use a one-stop shop and I can help you with that, whether it's Asana or Trello or anything. And I'm going to be doing workshops on that because I think it's the number one thing. If you can track your connections, not just tracking your leads, you are going to build your business way faster because those collaborations lead to referrals. They lead to joint ventures. They lead to collab and affiliate opportunities. And I'm just going to say it. I listen to YouTube constantly. You cannot hear a YouTuber today without stopping in with their sponsored ad. That is hashtag, or sorry, their name and then their promo code, right? You can't. There's not one YouTuber out there that is, they're all very smart, but that's the reason they're successful, guys, is they've built those collaborations. Look at Jenna Kutcher and Amy Porterfield. Look at how they just knock the socks off of their promotions, right? That's collaboration. Look at the Daily Wire, whether you love them or hate them. Look at how they do their stuff. Look at how any of those guys as collaborative entities work together. And that is the collaboration. It is the ultimate way to having a business. And I just love that Norbert last week talked about the fact that solopreneur is such a stupid concept, because it really is. I don't consider myself a solopreneur because I got Katy. To be honest with you, I don't do a lot of things without getting her to at least hear me out. She doesn't have the final say. However, she will tell me,
working on it.
Yeah, you might want to think that one over there, honey. Remember that conversation we had last week?
We need to call it the Bestiepreneur.
Bestiepreneur. Yeah.
There we go. That could be the new thing. What was I going to say? There was something you said there, and I wanted to add to that. Norbert was talking last week, too, about how none of us No single human has all of the pieces that you need to be successful. It's impossible. And I know for me, Erin's brought up the tracky thing a couple times. She's doing that on purpose because she's like poking the bear. But here's the thing. I have my guests.
Yep.
I'm in fact supporting Erin with building her events because that's what I
Yes.
do. But when it comes to tracking, I just haven't found the system or the methodology that's really going to support how my brain works. That's something that we all have. We all struggle with a certain area or thing. It doesn't mean it can't be resolved. I'll get there. But I just have to borrow her to come and clean up my mess because that's just not a strength area for sure. So really, it does come down to collaborating, supporting, filling the gaps for each other. And it just makes you take flight so much sooner. And
Yep.
I don't know why in the world for 12 years, it didn't occur to me that I should be collaborating. And I guess at the end of the day, I keep coming back to this. Our mistakes are our best lessons, and I certainly learned a few of those. Erin, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. In the show notes, we're going to include your contact information, but what would be your number one way to, your number one preference for how people can get in touch with you?
Facebook, man. I'm old
Yeah.
school. I am a DM person, and I love Facebook because I love to see what you have going on in your life. So Erin Vogt, ErinVogt, short and sweet. I have pink all the time. So if you see a profile picture with some pink on it, that's me. And expect to see some goofy stuff, but also some heart-centered stuff. And I just love to connect you. So if I show up in your DMs and I'm connecting you with someone in Alaska, it's because I know that you're awesome and I want to do that for you.
Yes, you are awesome. You're a great connector, which makes you a great fit for the show. And she was going to be on the show regardless. Let's be real. You're always going to bring your business bestie in for some bestiepreneurship. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you are considering a virtual event, be sure to reach out to me, yours truly, whether that be doing something on your own or a collaborative event, which is even more powerful. I have lots of goodness, lots of tips and tricks to share with you. So just reach out. Katy at katysuik.com. And like I said last time, make sure you spell that Katy. Otherwise, you will never find me because that is the incorrect spelling. No offense to the Katys out there with the IEs. It's just my philosophy. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
Thank you.